Hello, good morning. Welcome back to technology. Today we are going to continue where we stopped. Remember, last week we had the definition, basic list definition. We created an ordered and nested list. But today we are going to tackle these two, building definition list and building basic table. So we're going to start with the building definition list. Let's go to building definition list. One more type of list is the definition list. The definition list is very useful, although it's not used frequently. It was originally designed to format dictionary style definition, but it is really useful anytime you have name and value pairs. So let me go ahead and show you how does a definition list look like. We have this is it. Let me zoom in. This is an example of a definition list. You see that the definition list don't use bullets like in an ordered list or numbers like in ordered list. Instead, they have two elements. What are those two elements? The first element is what we call definition terms. The definition terms are usually words or short phrases. In our example, the browser names are defined as definition terms. You see those browser name, Mosaic, Netscape, IE, and Firefox. They are what we call definition terms. Now, the definition description, which is the second term, are the extended text blocks that contain the actual definition. You see, these extended text blocks are what we call definition descriptions. All those extended text blocks that contain the actual definitions, they are called definition description. So, now how to build a basic definition list. We are going back to Notepad++ and we are going to create our own basic definition list. The end product should look like this. So by the end of this first part, we are going to create something like this where we are going to write basic definition list, common web browser, and make it look like this. So to get started, let's go to Notepad++, and we are going to start. Actually, as you can see, the page is not blank. I had already written some code. Remember, when you are starting a page, it's really important to start with the skeleton. I already wrote the basic tags for HTML. Then I'm going ahead and type the title for my definition list. I can name it basic definition list, DL, that stands for definition list. And we go to the body. Remember, in our example, we should start with the title basic definition list. So the title is H1, as you know. We are going to type H1, type for the title H1, and we are going to write basic definition list. Basic definition list. This is the title. I'm going to save it right away so that I can see how it looks like when we type it. So I'm going to save it, Control S, and I'm going to name it basic list. Basic list. Don't forget to put HTML. Saved. Basic list. And beside the title, the second title is common web browsers. So the second title will obviously be H2, the H2 tag, H2, you forget the slash, there we go. So the H2 is common web browsers, common web browser, common web browser, so that's it. Now to create a basic definition list, we need only 3 tag pairs. Here there are the tag pairs. We're going to use DL, which stands for define, that's going to define the entire list. And then we're going to use the DT for, they're going to define each definition terms, and DD for definition data. Remember we talked about definition terms and definition data. The definition terms was the names of the browser, and the definition data was the actual definition. So let's go back to Notepad and start by DL. That's going to define, that's going to tell the browser that we want to create a definition list. DL. I'm going to close it right away. DL. And since I'm going to put many things inside, I leave some space. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is remember DT, the definition terms. So we want to define our definition terms, and in our example right here, the first definition terms is mosaic. So this is what I'm going to write, mosaic for DT. DT, the definition term. I close it right away so that I don't forget. I'm going to write mosaic. Mosaic. Okay, this is it. This is the definition terms. I can go ahead and look how it looks like. Let me save it and see how does it look like in the web browser. Remember, I saved it like the basic list. This is it. So far we wrote the title, and here is the definition terms. Now I want to put the definition description. I want it to be indented, to start right here and go this way. So let me go back to Notepad++, and I'm going to write the definition descriptions that stand for DD. DD. Close it again. DD. There we go. Now here I'm going to write the definition of mosaic, and in our example right here, mosaic stands for is defined as the mother of all modern browsers, the first widely used visual browser. So this is what I'm going to write as the mother of all modern browser, the first widely used visual browser. Okay, this is it. Now that I've done it, remember in our example we have Mosaic, Netscape, IE, and Firefox. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy these two, and I will be pasting it and change the content. So this is it. I'm going to paste it and change the content. The second web browser was Netscape, so I'm going to write Netscape. And the definition for Netscape is the commercial successor to Mosaic, widely popular but eventually eclipsed by Internet Explorer. So this is what I'm going to write. It's the commercial successor. The commercial successor to Mosaic. Widely popular. Widely popular, but eventually eclipsed by Internet Explorer. Okay, this is it. So I'm going to save it and see how it looks like in the browser. Let me refresh it. This is it. Let me shrink it so that we can see how it looks like. Yeah, you see that so far we have the mosaic, which are the definition terms and the definition descriptions. They are indented. They don't start right here on the left, but there is a margin. So this is the example of basic definition list. So to complete our list, I'm going to complete IE and Firefox the same way I did with the two first. So because of time, I'm just going to, since I did it already, I'm going to look for it and just copy it and paste it. This is what I did. I'm just going to copy it and paste it here. Okay, I'm going to paste Internet Explorer and Firefox, save it, and check it out in the browser. Refresh it. This is it. So this is the basic definition list, the common web browser. This is how to create it. I hope this one is really easy and you can do it. You just have to know the basic tags, tag pairs, the DL that defines the entire list, DT for definition terms, and DD for the definition data. So that's been said, we're going to move on to the second part of today's lecture. Remember, we talked about building definition lists. We did it. We have built definition list. Now we are going to dive into table, how to build basic table. And let me show you an example of what we'll be doing. At the end of this lesson, actually you should be able to create a such like basic table. So how do we do it? Let's go back and see the tags that we use to create table. To build tables, we need 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. 4 tags per that we're going to use. The first one is going to be table. That's going to define the entire table. We're going to show to the browser that we want to create table, and we will need the TR that will stand for table row, TH for table head, and TD for table data. I'm going to walk you slowly and see how is it created. So let's go back to Notepad. Remember, we have to create something like this: basic table, HTML, super euros, and put all these things like this. So how do we do it? We are going to first start with the basic. We're going to start with basic. We're going to start with basic tags. That's going to tell the browser that we want to create a table. So let's go. We're going to start with the table tag. Always when you want to create a table, we're going to start with the table tag and close it, table. And make sure you close it. Good, there we go, and expand. Here we're going to put our table. Everything that's going to be inside here is going to feature in the table. So the first thing in creating our table, let me show you an example of how does a table look like. And where is it? This is it. We need the table. Table is made of rows and columns. But here we're going to start with the first element is going to be, the first tag is going to be the TR. That stands for table rows. We're going to define the rows TR. So we're going to type TR and make sure we close it. TR, that stands for table row. Here we're going to create our first row. And remember, in our example, in our row we have how many columns? 1, 2, 3. We have 3 columns. So in our row we are going to insert 3 columns. But the first tag that we are going to use inside the table row is going to be the TH. It's going to be TH, that stands for table head. Remember, in our table we have the table head like hero, power, nemesis. They are bolded. So we are going to type TH, that stands for table head. TH, our first TH, and close it. TH. I'm going to copy it because there are 3 of them, and I will be pasting it. Okay, these are the 3 table heads. The first title, the head is hero. After hero we have power. After power we have nemesis. These are the table heads. Let's go ahead, save it, and try to see how it looks like in the web browser. Something will go wrong, but I want you to notice it and try to see. Something will go wrong. I did it on purpose, but I want to draw your attention to something very, very important. Here we are. So if I refresh it, see what's happened. It's written hero, power, nemesis. We can't see any table here. Now, how do we make it happen? How do we show the table? We are going to go back to the first tag of the table that we wrote, and we are going to add an attribute, something called an attribute. That attribute's name will be border. We are going to add the border, and we're going to put it equal to 1. Why do we do this? We want to tell the browser that our border will be equal to 1, and see what would happen if I save it. Let me go back and check it out. Refresh. You see the table pops out. So this border one, if I change you can go ahead and try to change the border size, and you're going to see how the table border will change. But for this lesson, we're going to keep it to border 1. This attribute tells the browser that my table is going to have 1 as border. So that's being said, let's continue. We have created the table heads. Now we want to create the other 2, 3 rows. This row, this and this one. So the second row starts with the HTML and goes up to sloppy code boy. So this is what we are going to write. We're going to create another row. I copy it and I paste it here. But here, remember, I'm not going to write th again because in our table we have only one row of table heads. Now I'm going to change th to td. Remember here, to td, that stands for table data. So I go ahead, I'm going to change td. I'm going to put data in my table, close it, td. There we go. I'm going to copy it because there are 3 of them, and I will just paste. Okay, this is it. And if you look closely, I said there are 3 of them left. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to repeat the action. This is the second row, because the first row is the one that contains the table heads. But there are 4 rows in our tables. So far I have created 2 of them, so I'm just going to copy this and paste 2 others to make it 4 rows. So I copy and I'm going to paste. There we go. If I save it right now and I try to refresh my page, you will see that other rows will pop up here, but there will be empty. Let me try. This is it. You see it? You can't see it properly, but if we add the data inside, it's going to expand. So let's go ahead, start adding that HTML, the HTML, HTML author, down it's standard.compliance, standard compliance, and the third. Remember, what I'm typing is the row. I'm not typing the columns. These are the rows. I'm typing the rows. Sloppy code boy. Sloppy code. I save it. Remember, what I typed is this. The first row, the HTML auto standard compliance sloppy code. This is what I typed here. So let me save it and refresh my browser to see how it's going to look like. Do you see how it expands? We have the HTML auto standard compliance sloppy boy. I'm going to add the remaining columns, this and this, and see how it looks like. So we're going to move a bit faster. So I'm going just to copy them because I already did it somewhere. I'm going to look where I did them. I'm just going to copy. Here they are. I'm going to copy because of time. Just copying them and paste them here and see how it will look like. Save it and check it out in the browser. Okay, this is it. You see, we have created our table. Remember, we started with the table tag. Don't forget the attributes equal 1. All these are inside table. They are inside table, and we used the tr. Let's go back to. Remember, we used the table tags pair to wrap everything inside. All these things were inside. The TR, that stands for the table row, the TH for the table head, and the TD for the table data. And in our example here, you see that hero, power, nemesis, they are table heads. That's why we put them inside the table head. And each row should be defined with TR. It's very, very, very important. So that's it for today. We have talked about basic lists and how to create simple basic table. But next time around we are going to talk about, remember, we are going to talk about using row span and column span attributes, because we want to add other details in our table. So we'll have something like this for next Thursday. Here it is. We're going to create a complex table, and I want you guys first to exercise on creating your own definition list and try to create a search-like table. It's not a homework, but it's just exercise. But on Thursday, we are going to expand. We are going to talk about other features, how to create a complex table. So that's it for today. I thank you so much for watching. If you didn't understand anything, go back to the video or just ask me. Send me a WhatsApp message and then I will answer you. So thank you very much for watching. So let's go down to the next lesson. I think Mr. Ricky is on the door waiting for me. So see you, get ready for individual and society, business studies, something like that. So take out your book.